I trust you're doing well. I'm Ethan Tashabia. You're watching RwandaTV News live from Kigali. Today at Village Rugiro, President Paul Kagame received Luxembourg's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Za Ansaldem, and the outgoing EU Commission Chair for Health and Humanitarian Affairs and Social Development, Amir Al-Fadil, who participated in the just concluded African Union-European Union's second joint ministerial meeting in Kigali. This evening, President Paul Kagame also received Dr. Vera Songwe, who is the Executive Secretary of the UN Economic Commission for Africa, who is also in Rwanda, for the 25th session of the Intergovernmental Committee of Senior Officials and Experts, hosted by the East African Office of the UNECA in collaboration with Rwanda's Ministry of Finance. Now, the communique from the Prime Minister's office, the news that just came in this evening. Pursuant to the Constitution of the Republic of Rwanda of 2003, revised in 2015, especially in its Article 116, His Excellency the President has made the following appointments. The first one is Assumpta Ingabire, who has been appointed the Minister of State, the Minister of State. I beg your pardon, I apologize for that. Assumpta Ingabire has been appointed the Minister of State of the Ministry of Local Government in charge of social affairs. I repeat, Assumpta Ingabire has been appointed a Minister of State in the Ministry of Local Government in charge of social affairs, while the one who has been holding that similar position, Ignatien Nyirarukundo, has been appointed Senior Advisor in charge of social protection programs in the Office of the Prime Minister, done in Kigali on the 27th of October 2021. I want to repeat this very statement. Pursuant to the Constitution of the Republic of Rwanda of 2003, revised in 2015, especially in its Article 116, His Excellency the President has made the following appointments. Assumpta Ingabire, appointed Minister of State of the Ministry of Local Government in charge of social affairs. Ignatien Nyirarukundo, appointed Senior Advisor in charge of social protection programs in the Office of the Prime Minister, done at Kigali on the October 27, 2021, signed by the Prime Minister, Dr. Edouard Ngirente. Now, the second announcement that communicated came from the Prime Minister's office, pursuant to the Constitution of the Republic of Rwanda of 2003, revised in 2015, especially in its Article 112. Today, at the 27th October 2021, Mr. Jean-Pierre Mugabo has been dismissed from the position of the Director General of Rwanda Forestry Authority with immediate effect. Mr. Spridio Nshimiyimana is appointed Acting Director General of Rwanda Forestry Authority, done at Kigali on the 27th of October 2021, on behalf of His Excellency President Paul Kagame, the President of the Republic of Rwanda, signed Dr. Edouard Ngirente, the Prime Minister of Rwanda. Allow me to repeat this very communique. Pursuant to the Constitution of the Republic of Rwanda of 2003, revised in 2015, especially in its Article 112, today, 27th October 2021, Mr. Jean-Pierre Mugabo has been dismissed from the position of Director General of Rwanda Forestry Authority, RFA, with immediate effect. Mr. Spridio Nshimiyimana is appointed Acting Director General of Rwanda Forestry Authority, RFA, done at Kigali on the 27th of October 2021, on behalf of His Excellency President Paul Kagame, the President of the Republic of Rwanda, signed Dr. Edouard Ngirente, who is the Prime Minister of Rwanda. Moving on, it was all jubilations as 656 police officers successfully completed Officer Cadet course at the Police Training School, PTS, in Gishari, Rwamagana District today. After their children were awarded the rank of Assistant Inspector of Police, some parents said it was of a great honor, urging their children to step into the ranks of the heroes who liberated Rwanda. We have this report. marching in unison with heads held high in front of their families and leaders at various levels in Rwanda. 655 newly commissioned police officers, including 80 women, had come to the end of a long 13-month officer cadet course ready for deployment. The Prime Minister, Dr. Edward Ngirente, conferred on them the rank of Assistant Inspector of Police.
With the permission from the President of the Republic of Rwanda, I confer on you the rank of Assistant Inspector Police of the Rwanda National Police.
On the other hand, parents and members of the families of the new officers, their hearts were full. Mukamfizi Dativa, a 71-year-old woman, traveled from Karongi district to witness the historic day of her youngest child of 12 children being commissioned as the national police officer, a glorious moment of emotions.
It's a very important day. I'm very happy to see my last-born join his peers to protect Rwanda. I'm proud of our country and President Paul Kagame for what he has been able to do to develop our country and educate our children.
Prime Minister Dr. Edward Ngirente commended the new officers for their endurance and good discipline and challenged them on the duty they have been set out to do going forward.
Mugomba guhora muzirikana ko inshingano yanyu yibanze ari ugukorera abanyarwanda.
Your primary responsibility is to serve your country and all Rwandans. This has a strong connection with citizen-centered governance. This is a principle that has guided you throughout this course even amidst COVID-19 pandemic.
Mwaritanze mujya kwisonga mu gushyigikira gahunda z'igihugu zo guhangana na COVID-19.
Rwego Ismail, a 67-year-old resident of Nyamata in Bugesera district, was full of praise for one of his 8 children who joined the rank of the national police officers.
Their trainers are good people who have served the country for many years. They are sowing in them the spirit of patriotism championed by President Kagame. They should learn from their senior officials to continue the progress of Rwanda.
Out of 656 newly commissioned officers, 574 police officers, 34 are members of the Rwanda Investigation Bureau, 38 are members of the National Intelligence and Security Service, while 10 are members of the Rwanda Correctional Services. Beautiful scenes right there. Now, the Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister rather, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Belgium, Sophie Willems, has commended the strong cooperation between our country, Belgium, and Rwanda. Innocent Mugabo has more of this report.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Vincent Biruta, received Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs of Belgium, Sophie Willems, for bilateral talks. Minister Biruta says the two countries are ready to continue developing their relationship.
The
relationship between Rwanda and Belgium is a good one. We have a partnership in health, agriculture, and more. Belgium has helped us with the COVID-19 pandemic. They gave us about 40 ambulances and vaccines. With the guest, we discussed the relationship between our two countries and various issues in our region, how we contribute to the Central African Republic and Mozambique, and other issues on this continent of Africa, and how our two countries can contribute to finding solutions. She also visited the Kigali Genocide Memorial, and the Belgians are well aware of our genocide history and are ready to work with us to continue dealing with its effects. Overall, the relationship between us is good, and we are determined to continue to develop it with a strong focus on business and investment. Sophie Willems commended Rwanda for its support in the construction of Nyarugenge Hospital and assured that the cooperation in the development of the hospital will continue. Nyarugenge Hospital was built and equipped with the cooperation of the government of Rwanda and Belgium through the Enabel Development Agency in a program called Ubuzima Burambye. During her visit to the hospital, Sophie Willems welcomed the construction, saying that Belgium will continue to support the expansion of the hospital.
We have been working and collaborating for many, many years, and we are
absolutely determined to continue like this. Friendship has to show itself. It's not only words. And showing itself, it can be with the construction of such a building, which is absolutely beautiful with the latest technology, and I think it will be very useful for the population. And this is the kind of cooperation that we are doing for a while now. And yes, of course, we are going to do so.
The Nyarugenge Hospital was designed to accommodate 300 beds to support Mohima Hospital and Sehashibe, as well as 6 health centers. The Minister of Health, Dr. Daniel Ngamije, says that preparations for the expansion of the hospital have begun and that Belgium will also be involved. We want the master plan to reflect the first and second phases, for us to do a phase 2 study to add 120 beds to the hospital for it to support Nyarugenge district, since in the coming days Sehashika Hospital will be relocated to Masaka. In the partnership between Rwanda and Belgium, there are plans to expand the hospital in the coming years in collaboration with the city of Kigali. The Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Belgium, Sophie Wilms, had attended the AU-EU ministerial meeting that was concluded this Wednesday. Innocent Mogabo, RTV News.
Thank you, Innocent, for that report. Now, still on matters related to cooperation, the French Minister for Trade and Economic Attractiveness, Franck Reister, believes that cooperation between France and Rwanda is becoming increasingly stronger and that it will extend to multiple areas, especially in trade. We have this report. The Kigali Industrial Park, also known as the Prime Economic Zone of Kigali, has seen a growing number of French factories establish their shop in Rwanda. For Rwandans, this increased presence of French investors in the country is of great importance.
We are so glad to work with a great company like Bolloré, which has this connection all over the world, and it is really, it gives us the opportunity to work with many countries and many companies, and this connection all over the world, it is an advantage for us to serve our clients as they wish. For us, it is a really great occasion and opportunity.
The government has opened the doors, and we're really happy for that. We just want to use this opportunity to see that we can explore more opportunities and see that we can do business from one level to another level, but also helping our country to boost the economy and also helping the Africa to boost the economy of the Africa.
Last May, the French President Emmanuel Macron made a historic visit to Rwanda, which brought a new impetus in the relationship between Rwanda and France, thanks to the will of the French leader and his counterpart, President Paul Kagame. For the French minister in charge of trade and economic attractiveness, Franck Reister, the time has come for the implementation of what has been decided by the heads of state from both countries.
5 months after the visit of the President Emmanuel Macron here in Rwanda. It is the follow-up of his visit here in Rwanda. It's a part of the new step we have decided to obtain together in Rwanda at the demand of President Kagame and President Macron. And it's a very important step forward, thanks to the commitment of our companies here in Rwanda.
The French minister also showed that the new relationship between Rwanda and France would further expand cooperation and partnership between the two countries.
Our French companies have decided to even more invest in the country in different sectors, very important sectors for the Rwanda and for the relationship between our two countries. Sectors of health, of sustainable city, transport, construction, environment, new tech, in different fields of agro-industry, agri-food industry, and in a strategy of win-win partnership. We want to invest in the long term here in the country, and we think that the best way to do so is to build partnership between private sectors, between companies, in a very strong relationship between people, people to people.
On his trip to Rwanda, Minister Frank Resta was accompanied by more than 30 French business leaders exploring investment and partnership opportunities between Rwanda and France. Now, as the world continues to combat COVID-19 pandemic, the Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, Dr. Uziel Ndagijimana, believes that member states in the East African community must have a common approach and strategies on how to not only deal with the pandemic, but also face the issues of recession. Jen Mutoni has more.
In a press conference after the opening of the meeting of the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, which brings together experts and decision makers from the Economic Commission for Africa, the Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, Dr. Uziel Ndagijimana, says that before thinking about boosting investment in the region in the context of the economic recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic, they should improve health investment in the fight against the virus and also develop prevention measures against any future outbreaks or pandemics.
The COVID-19 pandemic affected the economy of the whole world, and the only way to boost back the economy is by combating it and supplying more vaccines.
He also said that countries in the region should look at combining strategies to boost the African common market.
One of the topics that will be discussed on in the 3-day meeting is the review of the investment in the region, including the challenges and opportunities. In order to promote the Africa Common Market, we shall discuss on how private sectors are using these opportunities and what the challenges are and how the government can facilitate them.
Meanwhile, Dr. Mama Keita, the director of the UNECA Sub-Regional Office for Eastern Africa, said that the main target is to add value to different types of products and boost the services in the 14 member countries in the ECA, based on the needs of the markets in those countries and outside of it, as well as prioritizing security in order to attract more investors, hence boosting the economic development. Jane Mutoni, RTV News.
Thank you, Jen, for that report. Now, the Rwanda Investigation Bureau has arrested 4 men who are caught with ivory tusks, including 2 Rwandans, a Burundian and a Congolese man. They said they were using the route through Rwanda to export these tusks from the Democratic Republic of Congo to Asia. Jen Mutoni continues.
A vehicle with a license plate 123CD21 belonging to a Rwandan diplomat working for the Sinelac Power Company in the CEPGL Association was used to transport these ivory tusks from the Democratic Republic of Congo to Rwanda. The diplomat, along with 3 men, were paraded before the media with ivory tusks and other parts of the animal, considered to be the world's most endangered species, spread in front of them. On one hand, the diplomat denied being aware of what the men were carrying with them, as the other men all affirmed that he was not only aware, but he was the mastermind behind the plan.
They'd kept these tusks in their bags when they were asking me for a ride, so I agreed because they are my colleagues, and I drove with them to Kigali, but I wasn't aware that they were carrying ivory tusks, so it was afterwards that I knew.
nyuma nza kumenya yuko ari amahembe. Icyo ni kinyoma. Ukuri nuko ndiko ndababwira. Nkomeje mwakumva yuko yarabizi.
That's a lie. Once you give me a chance to explain, you will realize that he was aware. I was the middleman during the whole business. So he was given samples. After getting them, he proposed to string me along because he was worried that I'll give him in or report him. So I went with him to Kigali as he was carrying them in his car.
All 4 have been arrested at various times since October 23rd this year and are being prosecuted for smuggling ivory tusks to Rwanda, according to the RIB spokesperson, Dr. Thierry Murangira.
They were arrested as they were smuggling them into Rwanda. But a preliminary investigation revealed that they were intended to be sold in Asian countries. So they were using Rwanda as a route to transport them through. Their arrest is a message to anyone who wants to use Rwanda as a means of illegal trades like ivory tusks, that such trades do not stand a chance of being successful. Rwanda will not accept being a route or port to carry out illegal businesses.
The impowdered ivory tusks and other items all weigh 45 kilograms, and each kilogram is worth more than 600,000 Rwandan francs. This is a crime punishable under the 2018 Environmental Protection Act, which states that anyone who hunts, injures, kills or sells parts of a wild or protected species is punishable under Article 58, where the convicted felon is sentenced between 5 to 7 years in prison and pays a fine between 5 to 8 million Rwandan francs. Jane Mutoni, RTV News.
Thank you, Jen, for that report. Now, the Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation in the United Arab Emirates, Sheikh Shabout bin Nahyan bin Mubarak Al Nahyan, commended the good leadership in Rwanda that has restored peace and security to Rwandans after the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. He said this shortly after laying the wreath on the grave of more than 250,000 people that were buried at the Gedi Genocide Memorial, and after visiting various parts of the memorial site. In the guest book, he wrote, and I quote, "I would like to take this opportunity to express my deepest condolences on the tragedy of the Rwandan genocide, and I would pray for the souls to rest in peace. I would like to commend the leadership of His Excellency, the President, in rebuilding a more prosperous with secure freedom for the people of Rwanda." The Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of the UAE, Sheikh Shabout bin Nahyan bin Mubarak Al Nahyan, was received by President Paul Kagame at Village Rugwiro on Tuesday evening. Now, agriculture experts say that the development of agriculture through technology is one of the factors that can help the African continent to be self-sufficient in food. This was announced at the launch of a joint project in 7 African countries to promote agriculture through technology in Rwanda. This was announced rather at that very event that was held today. We have more of this report.
The development of agriculture and animal husbandry using state-of-the-art biotechnology is one of the potential solutions to the problem of famine on the African continent. Dr. Karangwa Patrick, the Director General of Rwanda Agriculture and Animal Resources Development Board (RAB), says that this kind of technology in agriculture and animal husbandry is common in Rwanda, but there is going to be cooperation with other countries. OFAB works especially in terms of providing a platform to enable people to share information and exchange knowledge, both in the country and in other countries with this technology. Vitumbiko Chinoku, the project manager of the Open Forum on Agricultural Biotechnology in Africa, OFAB, says that the project sets up an advocacy platform and provides real-time information on agricultural technology.
We need to up our game in terms of advocacy. I think it is very important that we do research. We come up with the gap that needs to be closed. But more importantly, I think what will be critical is to ensure that policymakers do understand the role of agriculture biotechnology in development. The moment the policymakers understand why we need agriculture biotechnology, it will be very easy for them to include it in the budget.
Dr. Kananjire Canisius, the Executive Director of the African Agricultural Technology Foundation, AATF, says that the use of technology in agriculture and animal husbandry is important as land is not increasing and the population of the African continent is increasing.
It will not be possible to keep increasing the land that we cultivate so that production can be elevated to the level that will be sufficient for feeding the continuously growing population of our countries, of our continent. Technology only will be able to increase what we produce on each single hectare of the land that we have.
Participants also pointed out that the agriculture sector should be given special attention as it contributes to the GDP of Africa, where it accounts for 25% of GDP, with 80% sub-Saharan Africa's population, doing it on a small scale and employing 175 million people. The World Bank says that for agriculture to grow, its current budget needs to multiply by 3 by 2030, which means that it will need thousands of dollars. Innocent Mugabo, RTV News.